Good morning. So yesterday I did my reading and then I lost the video, so I have to do something over, and I'm going to start reading from chapter 3. Yes, we are still in Vryburg. My kitty cat, which is not my kitty cat, but Vryburg's kitty cat, is here with me, Kriel B&B. I've got a little bit of a nature reserve and I feel super blessed, especially on this beautiful spring day. It's the 1st of September, and I'll start reading from chapter 3. My life up to this moment. In this book, I am sharing my life story, or some of it, just to make it easier for you to start your own thinking process, as everyone has a life story to tell. Yeah, everyone has a life story to tell. So what about your own? Please use the following questions to start the thinking process about yourself. You are welcome to write it down in your own journal. It would be good if you buy one from me. That would be amazing. Thank you very much. 250 Rand. It's a journal for forever. It doesn't have a year date, so super cheap. And use my answers as an example. So, how would you describe your upbringing? I put there, I was an only child. Whenever I mention this, the first response, almost without fail, has been that I am so lucky and was probably spoiled by getting everything I wanted from my parents. I suppose that this belief should be normal, save for the fact that it cannot be further from the truth. I was an unwanted child. I arrived when my mom had already given up hope on having children at all. She had too many challenges trying for a baby, and almost all attempts disappointedly ended in miscarriages. The last and most devastating one was 2 years before my birth, when she birthed a boy who sadly lived for only 1 day. At this point, she had made the decision that she never wanted to go through such a painful ordeal again, and who could blame her? My dad told me that he was very happy when I arrived. I should keep in mind that there were no cell phones, and he struggled with alcohol addiction for most of his life. Therefore, he does not know what time I was born. I admit it does not sit well with me. It still does not sit well with me. To make matters worse, I was born with asthma, which makes me believe that I could not have been such a delight to care for either. They most definitely gave it their all and kept me alive, though, as I was rushed to Rooikraal Children's Hospital more often than not, being an asthmatic baby. As a child, it felt to me as if my mom was angry most of the time, obviously having an alcoholic husband, and I tried my level best not to be more fuel for her anger, which was really hard work. I concentrated early in life on achieving my goals, and as a result, I started working and earning my own money when I was really young. Later in life, this challenge would turn to my favor as I became an overachieving businesswoman at a very young age. My parents divorced when I was 11 years old. I had to live with my mom as my dad only stopped drinking a few years ago. My mom married again, my dad's best friend, only a year after the divorce. Unfortunately, my circumstances did not improve, as the new husband was not one of my favorite people, to say the least. Unfortunately, at age 13, less than a year after they were married, I fantasized about the idea of living with my dad. When I tried, I was flatly rejected by his wife. I felt that my dad did not even try to support me. I was very disappointed and had no contact with him for the next 3 years. From a very young age, I was seeking to find a normal family, a healthy family. It felt as if I was surrounded by dysfunctional families and therefore did not actually understand what a normal family would look like. How would you describe your social life? And my answer, my social life bloomed much later in life. When I was still at school, from standard 7, I worked every weekend and every holiday. I was determined not to be an added burden to my mom, who seemed to be working constantly all her life. I always had my own money. I would go ice skating in Goodwood, Cape Town on a Saturday afternoon, after work only, getting there and back by train. I started dating at the age of 15 and had the same boyfriend for 6 years. We did not go to clubs, and both of us were non-smokers and non-drinkers. We loved going to the movies, playing rugby in the park, or just being on the beach. On Sundays, we went to church, and I mostly stayed with him and his mom over the weekends. My boyfriend enrolled in the army straight from school, and then, not seeing each other, we started drifting apart. At age 21, my first husband came to the scene. The only socializing we did was to pry with friends where he would get drunk. As most stories go, I had chosen a husband just like my dad, an alcoholic. He still was a beautiful man, but he still is a beautiful man, but so I did the right thing. I did not dare take my husband to any social gatherings when we had our kids, in fear of not getting my family home by myself. So having said all that, I only started socializing much later in life. And then I leave a link to my website to tell you more about the socializing bit, which was amazing actually. First time ever that I became a teenager. Well, not really, but yeah. How would you describe your job? And my answer, I am super blessed with gratitude to do only what I love these days and not what I have to survive. It has been quite a journey to get here, and this is exactly what this book is all about. I always joke that my birth date is how I used to work, 24/7. I believe it is of utmost importance to find out what makes one happy and then creatively turn it into a lucrative business, which will afford you not just with an income, but more importantly, with soul fulfillment. After I matriculated, I had a few clerical jobs. Then I birthed a few businesses on the way before I started to realize what it actually was I wanted to do. Only when I started questioning the void feeling which was still there, I woke up to my passions. Luckily, we love traveling as we travel far and wide for Bee's work, and that's why I'm in Vryburg at the moment. This is how I started our blog, to share some traveling articles. At last, I had enough time to cultivate my love for writing. I also have had the honor of being called a soul grower, and now consider myself as such. I love being a part of some beautiful soul's journey. I believe my purpose is to feed a soul with love and see it grow. And there I also have a link to my website that tells you more about my soul growing. And I also have a link to my shop, because I'm going to talk about that. On top of all this, I have my own product range, perfumes, beard oil, face serums, both for ladies and gents, baby bum cream, and lacquer slab, which is something you can take to sleep at night. And I am as passionate about reading your angel cards as I am to give some footsie love. Please feel free to book a treatment or reading with me. Sure, the sun is glaring, my eyes are having a battle with it. How would you describe your body image? I shall have to write and plead victim again of my precious mother, rest her soul. She loved to eat, especially sweet things. The only time I have ever seen her as a normal size was on my parents' wedding pictures. So I grew up privileged in the area of food. We always had more than enough. Rivera Foods, a catalogue from where we could pick treats, was also around at that time, and it felt as if we had our own candy store right there in a built-in cupboard in my bedroom. Maybe because we had so much, I was not tempted to overindulge. My dad was the one who encouraged me to eat by preparing me breakfast and other inviting dishes. I even remember a chocolate birthday cake just before their divorce. I was 11. That was for my 11th birthday, yes. After my unplanned but necessary hysterectomy at age 28, it became more difficult to stay in shape, and I have had my fair share of a roller coaster ride with my weight. I have always exercised and kept the scale close by until B got fed up with my obsessive behavior and broke it, which was, of course, an absolute blessing in disguise. Nowadays, after not having a scale for many years and getting out of my head with my weight issues, I must admit that it is much easier to stay in shape. I am not overly obsessed about it anymore, and this really helps. How would you describe your stress level? Being born asthmatic, my life has always felt stressful. Since my birth, I had to fight for oxygen. Growing up in the way I did was definitely stressful. My life into motherhood with an alcoholic husband, absolutely stressful. And to all this, I added a business. A business where I was in charge, with eventually 8 employees, and all of them were older than me. Besides this, I was one of the directors of SACOP. SACOP is the business chamber, and the only woman on board of 10. I even sat in the conference rooms in Joburg with the mics, little microphones, because of the table being so big and everybody there, VIP. Then a divorce, entering into another marriage, at the same time losing everything financially with my 2 small children to look after. Later in life, I became sick because of hormonal imbalance, most definitely caused by stress and trauma through the deaths of my father-in-law, a good friend, my granddaughter's daddy, my mom, our dog of 18 years old, as well as my mother-in-law, all in succession. In hindsight, the panic attacks I was struggling with for nearly 2 years seems only natural. And I was told by my doctor, John Morley, that it was not panic attacks, they were mini strokes because of, not, I'll read to you why. Let me tell you, there is a Dr. Isaac Barnard. He does TRE in George, and he told me how when a little buck gets chased by a lion, and then they get away, maybe they will stand and they will shake like this the whole time for quite a few minutes, and then after that all the stress is out of their body and they continue onwards as if not remembering anything that had happened before. And TRE is tremor release exercises. So the other thing I wanted to say about that was also on a motorbike. Dr. Isaac Barnard told me on the motorbike it's the same thing, and my husband and I are fortunate to do biking often. I love it, and it really is a stress relief. If you feel bad and you've got a motorcycle, have a drive and see how you feel after. It's amazing. Where were we? It is said that trauma occurs when an individual adapts to a threat, a normal response, but is then unable to adapt again or unable to return to pre-threat functioning. It is the inhibited or fight or flight response that will lead to traumatic symptoms. Then added stress with being on the front lines with my daughter in a battle against cancer of my granddaughter's Alexia's daddy, and then his untimely death. Around that same time, the death of our 18-year-old dog Max. My mom was diagnosed with colon cancer and sent home to my care, with me still trying to find some soul-searching answers before she left. And then she did. B's mom drank herself to death as we tried but failed miserably to be there for her while she mourned his dad's passing on 5 years before her. Yes, I do believe we had more than our fair share of stress. In retrospect, I know now that we survived it and became so much stronger because we chose to. Ultimately, everything is up to our choices, and this is the lesson that I have learned. What would you say about yourself emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually? Emotionally, it would seem that I did not have the best start in life, but again, I have lived through it, and I have not only survived, but became much stronger because of it. Now I can be there for someone else, or write this book to share my story so that someone can benefit. Intellectually, I am and have always been a scholar of life, and believe that I shall continue to be one, even if I live to be 100 years or more. Aiming for 112, I said in the book, but 111 sounds to me much better, as 111 makes me think of three ones. And for me, it came to me yesterday while I was busy with my Kundalini yoga, that to get your three factors in your life together, your body, your mind, and your soul, if you can get that to become one, to work together for you as one, it feels kind of like the Bible talks about the three, the drie-enig. What is drie-enig? God, but it it brings to mind to me, my body, mind, and soul must be in unity for my God, for me, my God, for God to work through me, and with me, and in me, and yeah, we are um, we are crafted to His image, and therefore we should look after ourselves like we are looking after God. The same thing. And that, I believe, is the balance that needs to come to us. So I'm going to say I want to live to 111. Yes. At this stage in life, we are super blessed with a variety of fabulous friends from all walks of life and of all ages. I'm astounded at how often I have had and continue to have the pleasure of listening to my youngest friends, just to be amazed as I learn something new, being super blessed with the most valuable observations and lessons. Spiritually, my eyes are shining as I have learned to live with my heart wide open. I choose to. And I think from here I've got the last part of another video, which I will just join in to this one. And I thank you for listening, and it felt a bit like I rushed this because I've got so much to do, but loving every part of life, loving life, and that's where we need to get to love the life that we lead, but we need to fix it up to love it, and then we will be super blessed. And I say to you, a beautiful spring day, and yes, be super blessed for sure. Okay, what are your future hopes, dreams, and plans? I would love to see my amazing family prosper in every aspect of life, and they have prospered indeed, as we are super blessed to have 3 grandchildren. My wish is to spend so much time with them, time which was definitely not as plentiful when my children were growing up. My biggest wish is to leave with them an awesome legacy created from my life journey. This is also the reason I have claimed Louise Hay's affirmation and affirm it daily. Me and you would be super blessed too. Simply adjust it to your own life requirements, like a prayer I confirm daily. And I took this affirmation also from Louise Hay and changed it up to fit my family, to fit my needs. And you can do the same. I love my family. I have a loving, harmonious, joyous and healthy family, and we all have excellent communication. My husband, children, and grandchildren are divinely protected. Divine wisdom resides in each of them, and they are joyous, safe, and secure wherever they go. Isn't it beautiful? Wow. It is really beautiful, and I affirmed it daily for so long, and then something else comes in again. But while I was doing it, I used to smile. My son is very quiet, but as soon as I affirmed that affirmation, he would contact me, and it would be beautiful. Yeah. Soon we will be able to tick off another wish on our wish list. We will be able to build our log home in our forest after having this on our wish list for a while. On top of this, I have many plans to help my family and extended family prosper and to just be there for others on their journeys. In addition to all this, we would love to do some more traveling in and out of South Africa. We have friends all over the world, and it would be awesome to visit them in their homes. Enough about me. The most important question is, can you answer these questions for yourself? Be super blessed by writing this in your own journal or buy one from me. They only $250 and then $200 for a book. So cheap, very cheap. Enough about me, I'd ask. So the questions that I put in here was, how would you describe your upbringing? How would you describe your social life? How would you describe your job? How would you describe your body image? How would you describe your stress level? What would you say about yourself emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually? And what are your future hopes, dreams, and plans? I have found that taking time to acknowledge oneself brings new clarity to life, to really see why we have the challenges we have, as we are ultimately only here for an experience. How about finding out what you want by taking the time to write it down? We are the architects of our own life, and therefore we need a blueprint of sorts. To know what you want, you first need to know who you are and who you want to be. Ego is constructed. That means that it can be reconstructed and reshaped, and there is absolutely no time limit on this. Knowing others is wisdom, knowing yourself is enlightenment. That is a phrase from Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu. And then I wonder, I'm going to keep volume 2 for, yeah, the blower has blown. So I'm going to continue onward next time and just be super blessed. Yes.